Hello adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today I am not standing next to my small 2020 NV200. However, we will be getting into it in just a minute. But for the time being, I am standing next to my parents' 2006 Dodge Ram Sprinter. Now, this is something that they have been working on and converting over the past few months, and they're getting it closer and closer to time for them to roll out on their first adventures. However, there was something that they were kind of concerned about in their conversion, and so today we're going to address that. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty big adventure vehicle. It is, again, a 2006 Dodge Ram Sprinter, and they purchased this, and it used to be a plumbing service vehicle, which is why it has this on it. That was kind of the look that they used on all their vans, but then when they purchased it, it was actually being used as a catering truck. So it's had some hiccups and bumps and bruises, definitely, and you can see that, and they're still working on those things. But one of the things that was really a big hiccup was this. Do you see this? That was broken off. Now, one thing about purchasing a used vehicle is it's going to have a few of those weird things going on. But one of the things about these particular mirrors on this style is if you were to go and want to replace these, just the actual factory kind, it's very costly because the resale market on those is way on up there right now. So my dad was looking for other options, and he found these mirrors. These little bottom dome mirrors actually stick to your regular mirrors and give you an additional line of sight toward the rear, which is really, really great. However, it's still really super hard to see all the way to the back. And so one of the concerning portions of that is that with the sheer length of this van and not being able to see all the way to the rear, it makes backing up a bit harder, especially considering also the height of the van, because you want to make sure that there is nothing behind you. And I know for a fact that driving a smaller van, that this is something I also am concerned with, but I have a much smaller space to kind of navigate through to fix this. But I do have one advantage in this situation. Let's go over to Dimples and I'll show you. Now we're in Dimples, and as you can see, there's a little screen here, and the screen actually serves as a backup camera. Now, this came standard on my model because mine is a 2020, but way back in 2006, they did not have the same technology that they have now. So as a result, unfortunately, my dad has a smaller line of vision whenever he's coming back in a much larger van. So I was really thinking about this, and I thought this is one of the things that I personally know that before I had it, I had no idea what I was missing out on. And now that I have it, it is so helpful, like ridiculously helpful. And whenever I'm backing up, I can see just about everything that I need to. And so I was thinking, ooh, mom and dad need one of these because it'll make their life just so much easier whenever they're having to navigate around all over the country, especially in some of the tighter camp spaces or in areas that there's a lot of children that are running around, because let's all face it, no one wants to be that person who has a kid run behind them and then them by accident hit that kid. So a backup camera spares you from all of that. So today, I think what we're going to do is we're going to unbox a backup camera. Now, I'm not going to install it on this video. I'm going to let my dad do that so he can like get the inner workings and figure out exactly where he wants it. But I'm going to show you guys a really great option that is very comparable to the one that I have here in the van that came factory. Let me show you what the one in the van does first, and then we'll go into base camp and we'll unbox that one. But also, I'm going to show you what the dash of my dad's van currently looks like so you can see why it could be so valuable. Okay, so again, here's the screen. Whenever I go into reverse, it instantly turns on. And whenever I do, you'll see that it has a nice color display and then also shows me different zones. And it shows me those so that I can better align my vehicle where I need to be. And then it says on here every single time, check surroundings for safety. So what I typically have gotten used to doing is whenever I see this check surroundings for safety, I just automatically check my side view mirrors, and then I check the screen again. And then as I start to reverse, I continue to use my side view mirrors, but this gives me a clear line of sight for what's going on behind me. Might I add, in my entire life of driving, I have never been a good person when it comes to like backing up because of that phobia that there was always going to be something behind me. So whenever I finally had a backup camera, it was just such a relief. And now I back in everywhere and I'm just like whipping it and turning it and whipping it and turning it. And I have all the confidence in the world just because I now can actually see confidently that nothing is behind me. So again, I express this is something that I think everyone should have, which is why I wanted to do a video today. But also this will give you kind of a little sneak peek as to what's going on in my dad's van currently. I'm not going to get into the big stuff because he's still working on that. Van builds sometimes take time, and especially when you have life going on around you, sometimes it takes a little bit longer than you would like it to. And so that's just kind of the reality of it. But we are going to get at least a couple little sneak peeks of some things he's changed. So give me just a minute. I'm gonna go back to their van now. Before we get in, something that Dad added since the last time I updated you is this roof rack on the top. And I am so excited for them to have this because now they'll have a place that they can fix their solar. And if they want to, they could put a deck up there. There's all sorts of options that were opened up by that. So that's pretty cool. In addition, he picked up one of these little step stools so that it's easier for Mom and him to get in and out of the back. But you might also notice that the seat is turned backwards. That's because he added a seat swivel. So again, all behind this is just a construction zone, but look at that, cool stuff. I'm gonna keep most of that in the back a mystery for now. I'm so excited though because they have their basic plan. They have insulated, they have put some walls in place, and they actually have figured out how they want to set up their entire living space. But in the midst of all that, it's a construction zone. So we'll check that out later. But let me show you what this dash looks like now, and then we can go and unbox this and I can explain to you guys why this one was the one that I thought the Dad would like the best. You can see on their dash they have lots of room for activities, but at the same time there is nothing that even remotely resembles the same thing that I have. So you have a standard radio in here, which again, no screen, so there's no backup camera there. And then you have all of these little buttonholes where you can put different kinds of features and functions. But it's pretty much a bare little setup here. There's nothing super exciting going on, and it's just like a cut down version that was pretty standard for the 2006 models. Okay, now that we're inside, this is the backup camera that Dad is going to be installing into the van. And this is the Haloview, and it is the S7 model. So this is an AI system that is good for vehicle and pedestrian recognition. And then also it has an alarm on it. So it is going to physically tell him if someone is behind him when he's trying to back up. Now, one of the reasons why I was very excited about this one was because it is a wireless transmitter. So you don't have to hardwire this, which means that you can move it to different areas. And if he ever decides that he wants to change out his rig or use this on a different vehicle, he can, which is super, super cool. Now, just looking at the box, you can see what this is going to look like, but I always go through the box just because it kind of tells us some of the features. For example, it has the AI intelligence system. It has an HDR camera and is considered to be truly wireless. It is battery operated. It has an IPS panel, full color night vision, which is a huge must, I do believe. It also has a magnetic camera. It has a DVR, so it will record what is going on, and it is waterproof. All of those features are things that are perfect for van life because we're pretty rough on some of our items, and so this makes this an all-season, every adventure kind of camera. Now, I like to show you guys what's going into the van before it's in the van so you'll understand whenever we go back and take a look at the van what exactly it is that we're seeing. Because once something's completely built out, you can say, oh, I have the Haloview backup camera. But unless you actually understand what all the capabilities are, it's just a bullet point on a long list of other items that are also in the van. So that's why I dedicate some of my videos and time to sharing these things, because because not everyone is going to have a model of van like I do that does have a backup camera. And so this is super useful because we all should have something like this. It's just one of those safety things that's just a big must. I'm just saying. So now let's open up the box and see what all is in fact inside. Okay, I have gone ahead and removed the outer sleeve and we're going to open this up together. Okay, so I am a sucker for packaging. If they package things well, it shows me their priorities as their company and how much that they actually want their item to work. I know that's kind of a weird logic, but at the same time, if you see something that's poorly packaged, that just shows me that the company itself doesn't care about what's inside. That is not the case here. They definitely care what's inside. The user manual and then also the wireless monitor user manual are together. And then under that we have this foam layer. The foam layer also protects everything that is inside. Everything inside is cushioned by additional styrofoam. So in my opinion, this is extremely good packaging and definitely shows their priority to keeping what's inside intact. Now, additionally, there is some bubble wrap being used right here, and then everything just kind of has a place that is specific for it, so there is no wiggle and no rattle, which is huge. Now, let me just mention, I have received a lot of packages over the span of 6 years of travel, and this is just what I have learned throughout time. These are my opinions, of course, and so I always point that out though, because I think that that is important when a company cares about their product and how it arrives to you, knowing that after it leaves their hands, it goes through a series of other hands. And we've all seen packages that have just been smashed in the process. But because of how they packaged this, even if it were to take a few hits, it's still okay. Okay, inside the package itself though, this is the camera, and the camera has this little piece on top of it. So let's go ahead and pull that out. And then also with one hand, if this is possible, we'll wiggle this out. I may have to pull these things out not on camera just because they are in here super good. Okay, I got it out and this is what it looks like. This is the camera itself. This is a hefty feeling item. This is very nice. It actually has a few interesting things on here. We have a power button on the front, and then there is a little tiny block here. I don't know what that is yet. We're going to look to find out. It looks as though you can tilt the camera in a variety of different ways. And also there's a little connector cord right here, which I believe goes to a cable. We're about to find out. But first I wanted to do something kind of fun. It says that it's magnetic and it already has a huge magnet built into it. So let's put it on the fridge. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good, it's a good strong bond on that magnet. In fact, the refrigerator, it's kind of hard to see this, but the refrigerator is shaking all the while the camera is not moving. On the other side of that, here is the actual screen. It is nice. This is a very nice size screen. This is about the same size as the one I have in my van, and it's a full color display, so that's really cool. And you can see here that there's a variety of different kinds of buttons on here, so you can make adjustments and then also control the brightness of the display. So sometimes whenever I am driving at night, I like to flip on my night display, which darkens the screen so it's not just a blasting white light. You can do that on this one as well, which is super, super cool. Now, when we push the buttons, let's see. Okay, those are nice and easy to use. They have a full click, so you can actually hear that it engages the button. So that's really nice, and again, very substantial in quality. Now, underneath where the display screen was located right here, you have all of the cords and little interesting mounting pieces. You have this, which actually plugs your screen in, so it gives it power from your van. You could use this on your van, or you could use this through a power station independent. Then they also have these, which are how you set it up so that you can adjust it and you can mount it. So that's all right in here. And then on this side, we have some additional pieces. These are pretty hefty also. Let's see what this is. This is a massive bracket right here. Okay, that's very interesting. This is how you can actually mount it to your dash. It has a 3M sticker on it, and then it has a suction cup end also. So this is going to be how you can adjust it. This thing, I believe, sets up and probably bends, but let me play with it a little bit. Sure enough, I'm sitting here just like fumbling with it, and as you pull it apart, it can be adjusted into a series of different shapes. And so that means that you could mount this and then stick it to your windshield with this, and then bend it into the place that represents how you would like the angle. And then on this end, it has an additional thing that tightens and then also loosens so that you can change the angle yet a different way. And that is really, really cool. I have something similar to this in my van for my phone mount, and I love it. So this is super simple to use and very easy to install, because all you have to do with this is dampen this just a little bit, stick it to where you want it to be, and then there's actually a thing that tightens it into place. And whenever you do that, it sucks to the windshield solid and you're good to go. Also included are some additional 3M clips. And I think that them using 3M is just such a wise thing, because I have a GoPro mount that has literally been mounted to my dash of my old adventure car for over 4 years, and it hasn't gone anywhere. 3M makes super good products, and for them to acknowledge that and use that is, in my opinion, a quality move by Halo. Another thing that's very nice about the packaging is within here you actually have some labels for the items that you're picking up, so it gives you an idea as to what they're used for, which I think is so important, especially for someone who is just getting started on the road and has never had to install something like this before. It just takes the guesswork out of things. So now let's find out, what is this in the bubble wrap? Okay, so this is another kind of cord for plugging it in. So we have two different options for power. We have one that we can plug into a traditional wall plug. A lot of people, whenever they're converting vans, have these. So this would be super simple for them to plug into. And then we also have the one that you can plug into your cigarette lighter or your 12 volt. And so that's really cool too. Additionally, there are two small antennas. Of course, on the photo, we saw that those antennas would be hooked to each part of the device, but let's look at it a little bit closer once again, and we'll do a side by side. Okay, on the photo, you'll notice that there is an antenna on this part and then also on this part over here. So we have two of these, and they came in their own little package so as to not get damaged. So that's good. So if we look at the packaging, you'll notice there's one right here and then one also over there. And as we're looking at them, there are two of these. They each came in their own individual package, and you can see what the little end looks like right here. So that's just going to be able to screw directly on, and it has a little what looks like coax piece in the middle there to communicate, and that would connect into this little piece right here on the screen. And as you can see, there's a little receiver section so that whenever you align these two pieces, they fit in perfectly together. And as we look at it a little closer, you can also see that there are threads on there to really tighten it down and keep it on there snugly, so it's not going to back off or do anything crazy. Once it's on there, it looks like this. But something else that I noticed that was really cool is that this actually can bend. There's a little joint in the antenna, so you can really directionalize it to get the best connection. Because this is wireless, you want to be able to make sure that your signal is great so that you can get a perfect line of sight. Now what that's going to do is actually make sure that while you're backing up, it doesn't go all pixely. So whenever you're getting it all set up, you can set it up and then make sure that you have good working communication, and then you can just hit the road and you're good to go. And if for some reason you ever do have some connection issues, you can just go wiggle those little antennas, and again, you're good to go. Okay, while we're looking at this, at first I thought that this was the adjustment for this, but in fact you can just maneuver it into place however you need it to be. This is actually the connector that goes to the antenna, and I know that now after looking at the diagram a little bit better. I always say that before you get out and start hitting the road, play with the things that you have put into your vehicle just to make sure you fully know how to use them, and also that you're using them to the most high level of efficiency. That way you're not having to get out on the road and then have like a meltdown because something isn't going the right way. So now let's take a look at what the manual has to offer, and I would definitely suggest for the first little bit, carrying the Haloview manual with you, because that's just going to make it easier if you do need to troubleshoot somewhere down the line. Even though you've already played with it, it's always better to be backed up and responsible. Just throw it in your glove box, no big deal. And again, we'll look at that in just a second, but first I wanted to, since I just took this antenna off, show you this little section a bit better. This is the breakover section. So as you can see, the antenna can be moved to a complete and total 90-degree angle. So if you need to set it up where, for example, you're not getting great connection, you have lots of options for kind of making that signal work better. Not to mention, on the main unit, it's going to sit out to the side, so you can sit it out to the side and make sure that it is upright, which is going to give you the best possible connection strength to the inside through all that metal. Now, because there are two parts to this, there are also two user manuals. So this one is for the camera, and then this one is for the 7-inch LCD wireless monitor screen. So this one is a lot thinner than this one, I will say, but that kind of makes sense. The camera is literally just the camera. But the wireless monitor screen has a lot of different features, so they have to go into more detail on those. However, even with one of them being slightly larger than the other, they both are compact and would easily fit inside your glove compartment. Inside the front cover has a nice table of contents, including all the features, the specs, the basic operations, the wiring instructions, the installation, and then also all of the different menus. And I think that this is really great because one of the menus is a record menu. So you can actually record what's going on, and then also you can replay that. Now, if you wanted to, you could use this backup camera in addition to a front-facing camera and really give yourself a lot of protection on the roadway. And I definitely think that a dash cam in addition to a backup camera is smart, but the backup camera itself is not just smart, it is responsible driving. That's all I have to say. As we kind of flip through, it shows you illustrations of each part of this, and so you can see which portions go with what, and also what you should be expecting to find. So the first thing that you should probably do whenever you pick one of these up, if you decide to do so, just open up the box and then go through the book and then make sure that you have each one of these items. And then after you do that, then really start reading into the different portions of this. For example, it gives you some ideas as to a proper installation versus an improper installation, and then also tells you more about the AI, which the AI actually shows you different kinds of things that you need to know. It has a radar trigger that can detect people and also other vehicles, and this is where you can also find out about the various beeps that it can have based on what is around you for your protection. Now, one thing mine does not have is beeping, and I wish it did. I've ridden with Riley many times, and her Subaru actually tells her if she's gotten too close to something or if somebody's too close to her, and it lets her know in a very, very noticeable way. And mine does not do that. So I wanted Dad to have that option whenever he was going into this, because I want to give him all the best tools. And so the Haloview is definitely that. And on this particular endeavor, I had looked for a lot of different backup cameras and settled on this one just because of the cool features that it has and also the size of the screen. I know that in an expansive space like the van that my parents are going to be driving, that having a little tiny screen is not super handy, because you have to look at this tiny little thing, which is completely counterproductive to the whole point of having it just front and center. Hey, we don't want to hit something. You need that to be larger so it's easier to see, and this 7-inch screen was definitely that. Now, additionally in the book though, it does talk about how you can adjust the picture and also go into different modes. And I think that the modes here are going to be something that really sets this apart from some of the other backup cameras that I'd looked at. The modes are personalization modes, so you can really make the experience using the Haloview your own with how you set it up. And no two people are going to feel like they need to use the item exactly the same way. So this is going to be super handy for my parents, and they can set it up the way that best suits their driving needs. And I think that that's really great. Now, one more time, this is the S7 Sophon AI system. And again, I think that this has a lot of value to each and every motorist who has a vehicle that might not have come standard with a backup camera. Just being able to be more aware of your surroundings is a huge like stress reliever whenever you're out and about traveling, because I think there's enough things that are going on the road that we don't need to be worried about one more thing, and this spares us from that. Okay guys, I know today's video is a little bit different and we didn't actually install the camera, but I really wanted to leave that for my dad so that he can experiment with it and set it up exactly how he wants, because it is such a personalizable experience. I am so fortunate that I have been able to travel all over the country and share adventures with you all, and I'm really excited that my parents will soon be doing the same thing. They're going to be out there excited about all of the cool places and having the peace of mind of being able to do common things like backing up and not having to worry about the sheer length of the van and being able to make sure no one runs behind it or debris has fallen behind it is just such a much more comforting feeling, and I'm so excited for their next steps. I hope today's video was helpful for you. If you don't have a backup camera already and have been looking for one, the Haloview is a wonderful product, and as you can see, it has a lot of features on there that are very, very handy for a motorist. I can't wait to share it whenever they actually get installed, and we'll do a follow-up then, and Dad can maybe talk to us a little bit. We'll see what happens. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and having safety along the way just makes that good time even better. Till next time guys, bye!